Alright, a considerable amount of time has passed, so I think it's time for a new Diecast pickup update. Let's start off with a classic Gen 4 car, Dale Jarrett's 2005 paint scheme. I don't know why I never even had this paint scheme during my childhood, but hey, it's here now, and that's all that matters. And I believe, I think if I recall correctly, Dale Jarrett won his last ever career win in this scheme, and that year at Talladega, right there on the schedule, as they have this cool little magnet that show all the races date by date, track by track, etc., etc. And there you go. Dale Jarrett may have not had the most stellar closing seasons, but he was able to pull off one victory at Talladega when Kyle Petty crashed at the back straightaway and then manned it through from the back straightaway all the way to the start-finish line with a completely destroyed race car. All right. Now I know I got doubles of these, but they are just too damn good to not put them on my wall. Chase Elliott's 2009 Jimmie Johnson Throwback, and of course Jimmie Johnson tributing the OG 7-time champions. You know what I like about this? You've got the future star of NASCAR tributing to a 7-time champion, and you've already got a 7-time champion on his way to retirement that grinded his way to be up with the names with the likes of Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. His 3 teammates were tributing to him while he attributes to the 7-time champs before him. That's kind of poetic, if you ask me. It's kind of like Luke Skywalker looking up to Yoda and Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, while Rey looks up to Luke Skywalker. So, there you go. That's just the way I see it, honestly. And Jimmie Johnson, to my surprise and surprise of many others, have done a lot of things that Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt haven't done before. Such as being the King of Dover, Jimmie Johnson having one Daytona 500 above Earnhardt, a few Cup career wins above Earnhardt as well. I could literally go on forever, but you guys kind of get the idea. Jimmie Johnson would have tributed himself like he did the closing seasons of Lowe's and back in 2019, but he decided to tribute to the OG 7-time champions because he's just that humble. Honestly, if I were to be dead honest, that scheme looks better on the Gen 6 than it ever did on the Gen 5. It could have looked better on the Gen 5 had they had the spoiler from 2010 to 2012. And the non-splitter braces, too. Let's see, take a look at this. Pretty close, right? It's pretty much almost spot on. I could do a throwback car comparison at a later point. Anyways, moving on. Ryan Blaney's 12 body armor scheme that he drove at the Coca-Cola 400. Which is the race I call the soul-selling race for Jimmie Johnson, since he wrecked out of that race, missed the playoffs, boo-hoo. Second year in a row he doesn't make the playoffs, but his teammate William Byron got his first ever career win, and Chad Knaus' first ever non-Jimmie Johnson victory, and the only time Chad Knaus won without Jimmie Johnson. I couldn't hesitate because Ryan Blaney, if I recall correctly, had a top 5 finish out of this killer scheme. It was a good race, but of course, as a Jimmie Johnson fan, not so much. Next is Tyler Reddick's Jeff Burton throwback. I believe this scheme was also run on a truck series scheme as well. I don't quite remember who drove this scheme in truck series, but it was the 98, so I couldn't hesitate on buying this diecast for comparison's sake. And, of course, Kyle Busch's Elliott Sadler throwback. Let me take out something real quick. Hold on. Sorry, guys, for the disorienting camera. Alright. Voila. So with the exception of the 10th digit, oops. So with the exception of the 10th digit, whereas Elliott Sadler's is 3 and Kyle Busch's 1, most schemes aren't entirely far off. Well, there's pedigree on the decklet right there. And, of course, the other basic difference is that Elliott Sadler wasn't an insufferable douchebag and was not a Cup leech. And even if he descended down into the Busch Series, that was only because his Cup Series career was rapidly deteriorating. I'm willing to bet that Pocono crash that I saw in person in 2010 really took a toll on him, since he got the wind knocked out of him, as he mentioned. Luckily, this did visit victory lane at least 2 times. Once at Texas against Casey Kane, the year that Casey Kane went close to winning at least on 7 or 8 different occasions, but just couldn't seal the deal. And of course, Fontana, the second to last race before the inaugural chase, against Casey Kane and Mark Martin once again. And you can see that chase, that Elliott Sadler car was a bit beat up too. Hey, what can you do? I was just a kid back then, so who am I to judge myself? And first we've got Danica Patrick's Tooth Fairy scheme that she drove at the Talladega race. I was trying to find a bunch of 2016 schemes to commemorate Jimmie Johnson's threshold season, where he won the 7th championship. I know 2016 is not a lot of people's favorite years, but in terms of NASCAR seasons, it's definitely one of the best of all time. If I recall correctly, Danica wrecked with the scheme while Kenseth was flipping. Next is Joey Logano's Auto Traders. I think I saw this at Bristol in 2017, but I don't remember whether or not I saw this scheme in person. I think I might have saw it at one of the New Hampshire races, if I'm not mistaken. But it is nevertheless a pretty cool scheme, so I thought, since I already have Brad Keselowski's version of this, why not for Joey Logano? Not a big fan of the guy, but I do respect him for the most part, even if he costed Chase Elliott some victories. Chase Elliott unfortunately had it coming, but hopefully they buried the hatchet by then. Next is Eric Almarola's Air Force scheme from 2016. I believe I saw this scheme in New Hampshire as well as Dover, if I recall correctly. Could be wrong, can't confirm, but I do remember seeing pictures of this in my albums. Nevertheless, it's not shameful to have this in my collection at all. It's from 2016, and here's a whole bunch of 2017 schemes of Danica Patrick, her closing season, where she had abundance of sponsorship issues. I figured, well, since 2017 was the last good season of mine, and I saw a bunch of those schemes in person, I thought, why not? To commemorate the races that I've been to in person, even if Danica was a NASCAR bust. Tax Act, Mobile One, finally have all the Stewart-Haas Mobile One schemes of 2017 and onwards, on the Fords at least. Aspen Dental, Pretty damn cool scheme. My favorite of the 4 I have. And code 3. Danica Patrick, if I recall correctly, got a top 10 at Dover, the race Jimmy Johnson won his final Cup race. And 2017, 50th anniversary of Fastenal. Well, once again, I figured, why not? Don't remember what race he ran this. I think it was in the fall or something like, well, not fall, early in the season, like like when Fox was broadcasting. I don't know, my knowledge on this one, it's a little fuzzy. Next is the custom-made scheme in a retro style of Jimmy Johnson. It is unoriginal, I know, but I mean, it is Jimmy Johnson, so why not? Jimmy Johnson deserves every ounce of respect of whatever paint schemes he drives, even if I despise them, I guess. It is what it is. Would have been better if this was, if this had white on it. Which, he drove this car at Las Vegas in the playoff race. He popped a tire, which brought out the caution, but luckily he was able to salvage a 11th place finish, which was unsatisfying, but better than most of the finishes he was pulling out of, or being slapped in the ass with, as he did not deserve to finish lower than 11th constantly. Next, we've got Ryan Newman's guaranteed rate that I saw at New Hampshire 2020, I believe. Pretty slick looking scheme. I keep thinking that says YouTube because of the arrow and, well, not the arrow, but the highlighted red of the last word and the black texture right before it. Nevertheless, it is pretty slick. Next, we've got Ross Chastain's Dillon rookie throwback. This shit pretty slaps. It's been attributed a bunch of times, but I don't think it was ever made on Diecast, so I just couldn't hesitate this one right there. Next is Jimmy Johnson's 7-time champ hybrid throwback, but in box. God damn it, Lionel. Why did you have to fuck up the Cup Series sticker? Whatever, it is what it is, I guess. This shit was just too sacred to not buy on Diecast. One missed opportunity is that Jimmy Johnson should have done a throwback to Jeff Gordon, his predecessor, since he was the one that assigned him to Hendrick. But hey, it is what it is, I guess. Hopefully, the Fire and Flame scheme from 2001 to 2008 will be at the track this year. Keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that William Byron can run that scheme. Next is Joey Logano's Bobby Allison scheme. He nearly wrecked this scheme multiple times and had a little bit of damage that race, if I recall correctly as well, and saved it multiple times impressively. Almost tangled with Jimmy Johnson, no less. And next is the Matt DiBenedetto's throwback to David Pearson, I believe. I've seen this scheme be thrown back to multiple times, but I just, for some reason, seem to have the recall of who in particular drove it. I think it was David Pearson, since he was mostly associated with the 21. Nevertheless, it is a killer to have in my collection. And next, once again, is Chase Elliott's 2009 throwback to Jimmy Johnson. I kind of feel bad that this scheme is just so damn cool looking, yet only ran in the shitty seasons of NASCAR. At least I can say that for every season this paint scheme ran, it never lost a championship. In the Cup Series, at least. I don't think this scheme was ever ran in the lower series, though, but nevertheless, it at least screams GOAT whenever you see it. It was the fourth consecutive championship scheme that Chase was throwing it back to. One missed opportunity is that they didn't do the fifth consecutive championship scheme, which I was really hoping that they do for Byron, but instead it's the useless all-star victory scheme. And, of course, the garbage homophobic school, Liberty University, had its boiling hot excrement logo all over it, which it could have been better if it was the meaningful fifth consecutive championship scheme, but with Alex Salta on it, but whatever, I guess. Next is Chase Elliott's history-making Daytona road course victory from 2016. This was his fourth road course victory, but third consecutive road course victory, if I'm not mistaken, which will be good to put on the ledge of my TV room, as I plan to get every single Chase Elliott victory diecast possible. As you can see, those two are right there, behind Jimmy Johnson's 2004 scheme. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it two in a row at the Daytona road course, so that my friend Alex Huber would have the bragging right to say that he's seen Chase Elliott win in person, but he did go the distance. He saw Christopher Bell win in person, at least, and has the bragging right to say he saw someone's first ever career win. Then saw a Hendrick victory the following race. So, it is what it is. I mean, Daytona Road Course Cup racing isn't all that bad, if I were to be honest. Not my favorite of all time. I still will always love Watkins Glen more than anything, any road course on the NASCAR schedule, but hey, it was still in the notable category. This is definitely a keeper. Hopefully they will make the Charlotte Roval, Martinsville, and of course, the ever so popular championship winning diecast. As I think from what I heard, that they are going to make a two-car set of Jimmy Johnson's One Final Time scheme and Chase Elliott's championship winning scheme. Next is Kevin Harvick's Busch Throwback, which heavily resembles a lot of Busch Series paint schemes from the 90s, that he also won with in this scheme that said year. 2020, that is, I meant. Since I technically didn't say 2020 beforehand, so it can't really say said year. So, sorry that I had a brain fart. It was really shaping up that this guy right here was gonna absolutely contend for a 84th victory in that scheme, or at the very least a podium finish, as he finished inside the top 5 and top 10 consistently in the first two stages. Then, of course, it was all derailed when, of course, some tangle with Denny Hamlin at Darlington, a slight tap to his back bumper slowed his car down, and, of course, who can forget the ever so disappointing tangle between this guy and Martin Truex Jr. I was really hoping Chase Elliott would take this car to victory lane just to solidify Jimmy Johnson's legendary career, but what the fuck ever. Bad timing on Martin Truex Jr.'s part, which basically gave Kevin Harvick the advantage to acquire his second Southern 500. Both times in the Southern 500, Kevin Harvick had to beat Hendrick drivers. Jimmy Johnson was supposedly cruising to his third Southern 500 victory when I was there in person in 2014. Then caution number 1 came out for debris. And then when Dale Earnhardt Jr. took the lead from Jimmy Johnson, it looked like I was going to see Dale Earnhardt Jr. acquire a victory in person with Hendrick Motorsports, no less, rather than DEI 10 years prior. But then it happened. Clint fucking Boyer dumped Kurt Busch on the back straightaway, brought out the caution. Boo. Oh no, what an agonizing failure that Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jimmie Johnson both choked away a potential Southern 500 victory. But hey, Kevin Harvick got his first Southern 500 that day in 2014, and at least it was Kevin Harvick of all people that won the Southern 500 in 2020 as well when Chase Elliott choked. But god damn it. Why is it always my drivers that have to choke in order for Kevin Harvick to win? Why is it always my drivers? 2011 Fontana much when he passed Jimmie Johnson on the final lap. 2011 Martinsville much when he passed Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a few laps to go. 2011 Coca-Cola 600 much when Dale Earnhardt Jr. ran out of gas on the final turn. 2011 Richmond when fucking Paul Menard spun himself out and then gave Kevin Harvick, his at the time teammate, the advantage to fucking win. What the fuck? I'm losing my mind. Fuck me. Why do I put myself through this fucking torture? I am in medieval hell in my mental state of mind. But hey, Kevin Harvick's still an absolute legend. So, gotta give it to him. And I've always liked Kevin Harvick, even with his, even if he had some on-track antics. I still loved the guy's passion for racing and thought he was quite stellar to listen to in his interviews, and thought he was a very down-to-earth guy to his racing fans. And then for the final car in this haul that I had, Austin Dillon's Dale Jr. Johnson throwback. He was charging like he was putting on that booster feature on the NASCAR Racing Arcade. He almost had something on Kevin Harvick the closing laps, but he just wasn't able to seal the deal. I gotta admit, even though I can't stand Austin Dillon all that much, I'm starting to hate him a little less, but that was quite mind-boggling to see how hard he was really pushing it and how much he was really going all out at Darlington. But of course, you can honestly blame the shitty, dirty air at Darlington, which gave Austin Dillon technically the disadvantage. And if they had the low downforce, he probably could have had a different say in that race. But, well, it is what it is. Luckily, it was Kevin Harvick. No disrespect to Austin Dillon's determination to try and win the race, but hey, well, it is what it is, I guess, as my friend Levi McIntyre would say. Hey, it's a big update. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for whatever random video I may be putting on next. Always looking forward to hearing from you guys.